Welcome to the Flaming Puck podcast, the brand new Calgary Flames podcast with me, your host, Ian the Dynamo Kelly, and of course, my trusted co-host, Dylan himself. And today we are actually joined by a really special guest, Mr. Chris Novak. How are you doing, my friend? Rubak?
Doing good, my friend. Doing
I said,
great.
I said Novak, which is like the most ridiculous thing ever because I was reading something earlier about Chris Novak because there is actually a person who wrestled called Chris
I,
Novak. So
I've been called way worse than that.
So I'm definitely a bum on that intro, but hey, we are here, and I'm looking
It's all
forward
good.
to looking
Welcome
forward to
in.
talking some great Flames hockey today. And Dylan, why don't you tell us what the agenda is today?
Well, I think we're going to get into a little bit about how the Flames played last night. We're just finished the Battle of Alberta last night. Classic Flames facing adversity and not really facing it properly.
Yeah, yeah,
And after that, we're probably going to head into some prospect talks. Get some positivity going and.
Yep.
Maybe think about the deadline and see what kind of trades could be coming. And happy to have Chris in. He's got quite a hockey mind and probably the best Calgary Flames room I've ever seen in my entire life.
yeah. I'm not jealous at all.
It's tough to find reasonable lighting in here with all the red. I apologize. I'm a bit faded.
Yeah,
It's awesome. He's got his little Flames buddy there. Who's your buddy? Who's the guy?
That's Monahan.
Sean.
That's Monahan. I'm gonna be trading him after the show.
I wish Monahan was that buff right now, so we could actually get something out of him and people could bounce off him.
Yeah, he looks like he's about 211. It's good.
Yeah, he does. I'll tell you, Chris, you should start. I mean, obviously, Dylan, you mentioned last night the Battle of Alberta, the game in between now. Next up is obviously the Maple Leafs again. 3-2 to the Edmonton Oilers. Same old story. It looks like it's a case now where realistically we just got to hope for a high pick, but in a draft that isn't necessarily flourishing with, I suppose, the most amazing prospects. But then again, at the same time, to think of it positively, we don't know. That's the problem. We don't know. The scouting network can't really do their job the way they would on a normal season. So, but let's start with last night. I'm going to start the tone with saying, right, I'm going to start with positive, guys. In a negative experience, I'm going to talk with a positive. To me, Chucky looked very, very lively again last night, doing Chucky things again. I got to say, I really, really did think that Chucky, something has clicked in his brain and he's going back to what he does best. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, he found Cassian there in the first couple minutes and didn't really look back.
Yeah.
It's the first time we've seen him starting to throw the stinky glove in the face for, I don't know, 5 weeks, 4 weeks for sure.
Yeah.
It was nice to see him actually engage and pushing back and actually fighting in front of the net.
Yeah.
That's where he's the most useful is just being that guy.
Absolutely, and he's spent a lot of his time. I think Ward must have told him to go behind the net because that's where he spent most of his time recently, and he's not incredibly effective behind there. So it's good to see him back in his office.
Yeah, and he didn't try one between the legs pass or shot last night, so that's a bonus.
I saw him almost do that behind the back hit. He went to do it, and then he thought better of it and shook his. I actually saw him shake his head, and and then he just skated away with the puck instead, which was fantastic.
Yeah. How many times has he led with his ass on a hit this year? Kind of getting tired of seeing it. Just be a man and use your shoulder.
Yeah, he kind of I think last night he started showing me a little bit more in terms of his checks as well. He wasn't doing that turn around and put my ass in your fucking back check. He was actually getting in, as you said. He laid one in on Cassian pretty early on, and I was kind of I think I was texting you at the time, Dylan, and I was saying I really hope Cassian and Lucic drop the gloves, or else Cassian and Kachuk drop the gloves. And I because I really think last night either of those two boys would have been well able for for that. You know what I mean? Cassian didn't really look up to it other than being a sneaky fucking self, but you know.
Yeah, that hit in the numbers at the end of the second was pretty gross, right?
It was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you know, it's okay because it's the Oilers, so you can do what you want because McDavid plays for them, so you know it is. Five Gs is all we're gonna ever hear.
Well, I was gonna say, you know, if the Oilers are allowed to charge all the way across the ice and hit a guy without the puck, then I guess we should probably do it right back to him, eh?
Yeah, I feel like we should get Brandon Tanev just to kind of give them a little bit of a receipt. maybe that's the trade we need. I think Pittsburgh might take a couple of maybe a round 4, round 5 pick for Tanev.
Dylan, what do you think the stride count was on that McDavid hit the other night? Was that 7 full strides?
Oh,
easy
7. I didn't know it, but it was 100% charging, and shockingly enough, the NHL Network wasn't giving me any, or Sportsnet or whatever wasn't giving me any good angles to actually see if it was his elbow or not, because I'm guessing because it was, and they didn't want to show that McDavid's elbow got somewhere.
Yeah.
But
speaking of angles, they also didn't really like talking about it on their radio broadcast or their podcast and broadcast either. They kind of just tapered over it and talked about how referees basically are, you know, it's okay to cheat, really. You know what I mean? It's just kind of crazy to me that, like, you know, especially in Europe, because we are like in Europe, we're so anti-cheating because we had referees in football, soccer, basically come out and say, oh, back in the day, sometimes we used to kind of game manage as well. And it's like, we understand it goes on in every sport, but I mean, you want to see it kind of very rare. You don't want to see it every game. And I find in hockey at the moment, well, especially it seems when the Flames are playing, that it seems to be happening quite a lot. I mean, the Winnipeg Jets game, good Lord.
Yeah, that was brutal. That first period was brutal.
I thought Darryl Sutter was going to come on the ice and actually throw haymakers, to be honest with you. And you know what I mean? I wouldn't have blamed him.
I was thinking Ric Flair would be a pretty good assistant coach nowadays. You know, the refs would just turn a blind eye to everything, and he could teach everyone how to be the dirtiest player in the game.
You know what? Sutter needs an assistant coach, definitely, because, and I mean, all joking aside, we definitely do need to look at our coaching structure next year. I think that's without a doubt. I think we need to look at getting 1 or 2 bodies in, especially in a forward sense and also in the goalie. I know Markstrom's old coach from Vancouver is free this year as well, which is pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they should scoop him up, to be honest with you. I mean,
yeah, me too.
I mean, he'll improve his save percentage by about 4, right? Which is what his career average is anyways.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, shall we move on to some positivity, some prospect talk?
Please do.
Yeah.
All right. Chris, who you got? Who are you excited for?
I'm kind of excited for Connor Zary, right?
Yeah.
He was our first pick last year, 24th overall. 6 feet. Could use a little more weight. I think he's listed around 185, between 185 190. Would like to see him hopefully around 2 to 205, perhaps.
205, yeah, I think is it.
Yeah, 205 would be good, right? I mean, shoots left, plays center. You know, he likes to get engaged in the boards. He's aggressive. He's physical. He's good at coming back on the play. You know, he's got the makings of a 200-foot player, which is nice.
Yeah.
He's put up I think a ton of points. Really, he's played 191 games for Kamloops with 188 points.
Just
75 being goals. Yeah, just became captain, exactly. With 139 penalty minutes. He's physical. He likes to do his thing, and I honestly think we won't see him next year. But I think the year after, I think he'll make a decent splash for us.
You go into the Heat next year, obviously. I think that will be the next.
Yeah, he's played 9 games for the Heat this year before being sent back to Kamloops.
Yeah.
7
Absolutely
points.
lit it up.
Yeah. 9 games, 3 goals, 4 assists.
Dude, that's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
played with was it Glenn Godden? No, it was Adam Rosiska, right?
Rosiska, he played with.
Yeah, and they both absolutely lit it up. I think they were close to the top of league scoring when Zari had to go back to the WHL because it started up again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for his actual debut, which, I mean, we'll see him in training camp next year, obviously, but depending on the direction the Flames go, if they actually do a bit of a rebuild, perhaps we may see him next year. Who knows? Right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I don't think they're going to blow it up. I don't think that's going to happen. I think
ownership won't allow that.
No. I think we could see Brad True leave. And I think we'll talk about that later, obviously. But there's definitely one or two pieces that could come in there, and I think Connor Zary. I'd agree with you, Chris. I think Zary, realistically, without rushing him, I think give him a year full with the Heat, and I think we've got a real potential superstar in our hands there. Like, I mean,
let him have a full season for the Heat, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Play with men.
No, I don't get too many games in as far as watching the minors, but I did watch him obviously on all the games he played for Team Canada in the World Juniors, and I got to say he's got the makings. He's got the speed. He reminds me a lot of Dylan Dubé in the fact that he kind of skates a heck of a lot faster than his brain goes.
It's like a 3-second delay. Yeah.
So he's kind of got to maybe catch up a little bit, or maybe slow his skating down just a touch, and then I found he was over skating a lot, but that's all development, and a year in the AHL could really help him.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think he has good vision. I mean, he's pretty damn good with the pass.
Yeah,
he's able to see when his guys are open and where they're at. Like, he's got a good peripheral.
How is he as a scorer, Chris? What's his numbers in terms of scoring? Like, would he be more of a playmaker, or does he have sniping ability as well?
No, he's got a good shot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a really good shot. He's 75 goals in 191 games for Kamloops.
Wow, that's not bad.
And then 3 goals for the Heat in that 9 games. So, I mean, he's got the ability. He's got a hell of a wrister. He's if he's coming in on the side and going towards the net. I mean, he's got that strength. He's got the ability to protect the puck and get that shot off.
Absolutely, we need shooters. That's something our team is seriously lacking.
Yeah, we used to have one in Sean Monahan, but guys, just a quick one there before I suppose we can. I don't know when we're going to talk about this later, but I mean, Sean Monahan is definitely playing with an injury, right? It's definitely he's got to be.
Something's going on.
We talked before we went on air, and Chris, you mentioned you were watching Milan, and I was watching Sean Monahan last night as well, and I noticed he was pulling out of little things, and it's not because he's a bum. You could tell there's something wrong there.
Yeah.
And I think somebody probably needs to give him a break and do something here, because there's definitely something wrong, because he's definitely better than that. I'm not saying he's the first line forward that we need, but there's definitely something wrong with Sean Monahan at the moment.
He's a heck of a lot better than what he's been doing.
Absolutely.
He absolutely is. But when you think about it, how many years have we been saying it near the end of the season where he's had something, and then he requires a surgery, or we find out, something was nagging him or injured. And
he had to get
becoming a problem.
Yeah, he had to get double
wrist surgery. He's like 6'2". Is he 6'2"? About two? Is he about 200 even?
Yeah, about 202, I think they call it. Yeah.
So he's probably a little bit lightweight for his size. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's never been that bruiser, that physical guy in the corner, which is interesting with his position and where he scores most of his goals, in front of the net, right? But he's never been.
He used to be able to wrestle himself into that spot.
Yeah, I'd agree with Dylan.
Yeah, he had good position.
100%.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, back to the prospects for a minute. I've got an interesting one that I've been watching in preseasons for the last 3 years. Dimitris Avogadny. He's
Interesting.
not doing super well in the AHL this year. I think he's got 19 games and 0 points, playing bottom 6 minutes. That being said, in the preseasons that I've seen him in, NHL preseasons I've seen him in, he has really impressed me. He's a 5'9", 173, so he's the same size, but got 8 pounds on Johnny.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Massive.
And
that's Macho Man Randy Savage levels there.
Right.
Yeah. Playing in junior in the QJ, the Quebec League. He's got his last season, his last full season, he had 67 points in 40 games. And that was obviously the shortened season from last year, COVID shortened season. And that is obviously, 27 more points than games, which is pretty great. Playing with Alexis Lafreniere,
that helps.
That does help.
Yeah.
But the trigger man needs a setup man as well.
That's right.
I thought that especially after this last preseason that I saw him in, his vision is fantastic. I thought that he's kind of deserved maybe a 3 to 9 game cup of coffee in the NHL just to see, not burn his rookie season or anything like that.
That's a good point as well, and plus it might put some trade value on him too. You know what I mean? Because if it is somebody that you're looking at, it could put some trade value up there as well too. That's a good point, Dylan.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because he is 5'9", and I think the organization is finally maybe getting a little bit tired of bringing 5'9" guys. Like looking at Mangiapane, he's bigger than that. He's fantastic and battles, but he gets out muscled because he's just small, right?
Yeah, I mean he works his ass off on a nightly basis, and it's frustrating to see how much he gets pushed away.
I just want to say for the record, I used to be a pro wrestler, and there's nothing wrong with 5'9" guys. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
but
no,
I mean,
absolutely not.
You're talking 5'9" and 158 though, right, Ian?
But that's the difference. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah, you got to have a little bit of meat on the bones. You know what I mean? I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So Dylan, I'm super impressed with him in the queue for sure. Do you know what his stats are playing against men this year in the A?
Yeah, I was mentioning he's got 0 in 19 games.
Yeah, but I was really surprised to see that, to be honest with you, because I agree with you. He has that makeup. He's fast, right?
He's really fast, and he's got that pass. I noticed in the preseason, especially this year and in years previous, because he's got 3 NHL preseasons under his belt. He's got that pass, and he set up a couple of really nice ones in the couple games he played against men, obviously in the preseason, but it's not transferring to the AHL, and I don't know if it's because he's getting bottom 6 minutes or what it is, but
have they been playing him center? Because I always thought because initially he played wing as well, right? He's played wing in the past, and obviously he's very, very fast.
Yeah, I think he's left wing, isn't he?
Yeah. But I've noticed as well that they've been playing him center sometimes as well.
Interesting.
So I'm thinking maybe that might give us a little bit of a narrative on why there's zeros beside his name.
Yeah, I mean, and playing bottom 6 center, especially, that's a pretty defensive,
shitty place to be, right? Yeah. Shitty place to be.
Yeah, that's a tough place to put somebody that's 5'9".
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go through the list of Flames that do that in the bottom 6. Anyways. So I've also got Dustin Wolf on my list.
Or savior. Knock wood.
Player of the month.
Let's
Twice.
knock wood on this one,
7
because
last year, too.
goalies, you truly cannot ever predict a goalie.
No.
Ever.
No. No.
But
fucking Ottawa.
He's got third. He's currently third all time in WHL shutouts. Probably going to pass that either this year or early next year. Carter Hart leads that statistic.
Yeah.
But I've got some numbers here. Just listen to some of these numbers. In the 131 regular season games in the WHL playing for Everett, he's got a 1.8 goals against average in 131 games in a high scoring league.
Wow.
That is fucking ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's got the makeup.
Yeah, he's got 1.9 GAA. Now the knock on him is he's 6'0", 168.
Yeah. Yeah, he's athletic.
He's super
That's
athletic.
what they call small goaltenders are athletic.
I don't mind that though. Yeah. I don't mind that, because even if he goes up to 175, you know what I mean, 180 at the max, I still think it keeps that athleticism. You know what I mean? Because obviously, quite clearly, that's his strength is his athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure. We just need to get him in a stretcher and get him up to 6'4".
Hey, yeah.
So it's at the crossbar, it's at the middle of his back and not his shoulders.
Medieval torture, just stretch him.
I was going to say, get some Celtic punishment on that motherfucker. He looks Celtic anyway. He's ginger, isn't he?
He is ginger, yeah. So he's already one step in, right?
Half the battle.
So he broke an Everett Silvertip's record that was actually held by Carter Hart, I believe.
Really?
Earlier this year, yeah. 216 minutes and 27 seconds shutout streak.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. He did get 3 games in Stockton this year, 2 wins with a 0.25 GAA, which is pretty ridiculous, even though it's only 3 games. And a 954 save percentage, which is also pretty ridiculous. Again, you got to temper your expectations, especially on goalies, but looking like he could be possibly the goalie of the post Markstrom era, and probably even the end of Markstrom era.
Yeah, that's where you bring him up when Markstrom has 2 more years to back him up. Hopefully, give him those reps, get him 10 games, get him 15 games.
Yeah, or
20 games
50 in that last year, maybe.
It's funny because I was listening to the guys from, shout out to the guys, and look, I love anything Flames anyway. So, but shout out to the guys from in the Dome podcast, but they were talking about, Markstrom should be up, fucking Tanev should be up, we should be looking to trade these guys, and I was like, for what? For what? What do you want in return? You know what I mean? Markstrom and Tanev, it's not happening because that is literally what Bradshaw literally has now to live and die by. You know what I mean? But
look at the contract that Markstrom just signed. You can't trade.
But why would you want to? Because you know that he's a good goalie. He is a good goalie. We've seen it. He's come back from injury. Fair enough, he's not kind of set the world alight, but he's definitely there. Look what he has beside him. He's got a dinosaur and a Swedish sensation who just literally doesn't know what to do because he's been...
Yeah, he looks lost.
And that's not Raz's fault. I think Raz playing with Giordano at the moment is not a good thing. I don't think...
No, it's not working.
But I think Gio just doesn't know what to do. Gio just wants the puck passed side, so Gio can shoot. You know what I mean? And I think it's about time Gio either retired or kind of just fucks off somewhere. And I don't mean that in a... I don't mean that in a
way.
Yeah, I don't mean it even in a disrespectful way. I mean, I hate legends getting disrespected and kind of not being appreciated for what they've done. So that's not where I'm coming from. But it is actually affecting our play.
It's affecting others. Yeah.
it's affecting Markstrom as well. And I think, I just thought I'd throw that in there anyway. Back to you, Dylan. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's all good. And on that too, Raz isn't using that slap shot, which is he's got a hell of a bomb.
He's a bomb,
but he doesn't use it because he's passing it to Giordano all the time. And like again, Gio's got a heck of a wrist shot, but he's not really using it well this year. And he's being defended really well too. So
he's not got the legs, dude. He's not got the legs. I mean, naturally, he's 37 years old. He's obviously carrying extra poundage as well. The legs just don't do. I mean, have you seen Gio once step in for a teammate this year to try and throw a, you know what I mean? I've not seen it.
Nope.
I've not seen it.
And he's not even really in scrums or anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing.
He's not doing the scrum. He's not doing it in the boards. He's not doing it.
Nothing. He's just, to me, he's just getting paid. And I think that's worse. You know what I mean? I think that's worse. So, well, let's take a.
But it's worse when you're playing 23, 24 minutes a game too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when you're still
drop him down to 15, 16 minutes. Let him play, bottom 6 or bottom 2. Sorry, and just let him ride it out. I'm fine with that for now. But like, as far as being on the top pairing, no, that time is done.
Absolutely.
He's been a great player for us, but the time is done.
You guys remember a couple of years ago, was it Gulutzin? I think it was Glenn Gulutzin who did the Hamonic and Brody pairing to absolute fucking death. And
unbelievable.
I love Hamonic. I love Brody. They played great with other players, but they did not play good together.
Not at all.
Even though the offense of Brody and the defense of Hamonic in theory should work, it just didn't. And he just continued to pound that away. And it really, that's kind of what's happening with this Anderson and Gio pair, because it worked well a little bit last year. Now they're just going at it. And it's not working. So you've got another 100%. Prospect you wanted to do there, Chris, I think.
So I also kind of wanted to talk about an undrafted player that we have, Connor Mackey. American born, 24 years old. It's a big kid, 6'2", but he's only 190 pounds, so he needs to throw on some weight because he does like to play a bit of a physical game.
Yeah.
I think he can.
His cup of coffee. He was skating pretty good too.
He's got great legs. Yeah. He's got a great shot. He played three games for us this year with 1 assist. I think it was one like assist and six penalty minutes. Yeah. So I mean, like three penalties in 3 games. Obviously getting noticed for the wrong reasons, but it was his first stint. So I think if he can control his brain and maybe put on a bit of weight, they say that he likes to join the rush and get up front, but I'd much rather him stay at home. Get be that guy that clears the net and hard against the boards, and people that any winger coming down the side, they don't want to do that because he's going to knock their ass out like the old Reggie days, right? We need that back.
Yep.
We need that guy.
Yep. I mean, Tanev tries his hardest, but he's got the grit and he's got the heart, but he's just a little small, I think, for that.
Yeah, and just not quite big enough.
I miss the Reggie days. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. When
you
have 7 players in the league that are actually afraid to go in the corner, you're doing your job right.
Absolutely.
Ask Vancouver.
Connor Mackey looks like he's got a bright future ahead of him. He's got probably another year to 2 before he's, I'd say, probably a full-time NHLer, but probably a top, maybe even a top 4 guy in the relatively near future, and that's important to have top 4 guys on cheap contracts. And
I can see him playing on the second pairing. Did you know his dad played as well?
I don't think I did. No.
David Mackey he had a long career in and out of various leagues. Played a few games for the Blackhawks and a few games for St. Louis, but really never turned into much at all. I kind of got myself reading more about David than Connor by the time I started doing some research, trying to find out where his pedigree is and where he actually comes from.
What's his salt? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. His dad was a winger, so obviously probably didn't teach him much in the defensive way of life.
No. What's next, Dill?
I think we've got some. This is all hypothetical, by the way. I think we're going to do some mock trades just for fun, just for shits and gigs.
What we actually decided to do a little bit of fantasy drafting, purely because if you go on YouTube and you type in Flames fantasy drafting, there's not much going on because nobody really gives a shit about the Flames other than us.
What?
So, look at us.
What are you talking about?
God,
what are you talking about?
Flames lives matter too. Flames lives matter too.
So it's all red.
What we're
it's all red on the inside.
Oh, absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into, I suppose, looking at what the Flames need, and we're going to try and give our realistic views on trades that could potentially happen rather than playing NHL 21.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I've got one that's definitely a hypothetical reach, but it's fun to say. It's fun to talk about as well. So,
yeah, forward to it. And we'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the Flaming Puck podcast with me, your host, Ian Dynamo Kelly, joined by my two co-hosts, Chris and Dylan. And we are, of course, talking about Flames hockey. And we're going to finish the show out today, I think, where we're going to talk about some hypothetical trade picks, basically, that we can use to help make the Flames better. I suppose I want to preface this as well, guys, by saying that we know that we're not making the playoffs now. That's it. It's over. Let's be real.
Yep.
We can look at the idea of making high draft picks and stuff like that, and that's great. But Dylan had a great idea as well. We can also look at making the Flames better for next year rather than putting all our chips into trying to do it all in the summer, which, of course, our beloved GM, Brad Treliving, likes to do all the time. We could probably get one or two pieces this year. I think that will help us build for next year, but also build upon the end of season trade deadline as well.
Absolutely, and that's actually a pretty good segue into Jack Eichel, who I believe is still injured. Probably, again, completely hypothetical trade. Probably will never happen.
No,
but
we can dream though.
So the Sabres have put a price on his head, which is a piece for now, a future first-round draft pick because they don't want any more for this year for reasons we've already spoken about.
Yep.
They told the Rangers what it was going to take the Rangers to get Eichel, and that is Alexis Lafreniere, Capo Caco, which is, I believe, a number 1 and a number 3 overall pick.
Yeah.
And next year's first and another piece. The Flames don't have anything like that, like any package like that.
What are you talking about?
You know what I mean? that there's no.
All right, so who's next on the list, Dylan? Who's next on the? No,
yeah, let's just let's
figure out how to make it happen.
Let's blow that one up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. There's just no way. But that would be a good one because then you could keep your draft pick for this year and not even have the guy in the lineup for most of the year, and then come back next year fully ready to go, lose next year's first round pick, and have that first line center that we need. But I highly doubt it. I mean, just a random package I put together is like Monahan, Bennett, next year's first, Riddick, and maybe Matthew Phillips. But I don't think that, Buffalo will probably look our way and laugh at that, right?
So I read an article with kind of a bit interesting transition for the same player for Eichel, being Monahan. Monahan seems to be the guy that everybody wants to package into this deal, and I understand why, But the one I read was Monahan, Bennett, Balamaki, next year's first, and as far as I'm concerned, if it makes it happen, throw in next year's second.
And you know what? Like,
it's funny because I'm thinking, right, Monahan definitely is the guy, because I mean Monahan is definitely the fall guy, but don't forget Johnny Gaudreau is not going to re-sign with us.
Most likely. Yeah.
I think Calgary Flames fans need to come to terms with that. I know you're saying most likely, Dylan, but like I would say 99.9%.
I've been saying that for a couple of years. Like,
you know what I mean?
I agree with that, Ian. But the one thing when it comes to Johnny Hockey is he would fetch a really good return on his own, where Monahan wouldn't bring in that. Yeah, Monahan would have to be in a package, I think, to really get a decent return out of it.
Hey,
not saying
how about next year's first round pick? I'm gonna lay out my cards on the table. Next year's first round pick, Johnny Hockey, Sean Monahan, his best friend. There you go. Give us Eichel. Deal done. Bye. Case closed.
2 guys in a pick, eh?
Yeah.
Huh.
That does it. I don't know about Buffalo's cap hit, if they're like how close they are to the cap, but I know we would need to send at least 10 million their way to get Eichel.
I'll loan them the money. It's all good.
Okay, Evander Kane.
I'm joking. Oh yeah, exactly.
I declare bankruptcy. Right?
Yeah.
So
Connor McGregor on this deal, can we?
Current cap space for Buffalo is $450,000.
Oh wow.
So we would need to probably hold a little bit of Johnny Armani's contract, like $1 million.
But you also got to think that, I mean, Taylor Holland's going to sign with them next year either, and he's $8 million.
Yeah,
that's true.
Oh yeah.
Man, how is that boom earning?
And Sam Reinhart, his contract's up at 5.2 this year as well, which they may sign Sam, but I mean, you don't know.
He's an RFA, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's gonna.
You're right. Yeah.
So
right.
he's gonna require at least 10% more than five mil. Yeah. And that's not. He fits.
So
the
5'7".
team.
Interesting.
Yeah, he fits the team. We need a right-handed. I think he's right-handed, but he's a right winger for sure. But
yeah, right.
We got any other trade suggestions? I know Dylan or Chris, one of you guys had Manta.
I've got. That's the most realistic one I've got on here, other than Konechny, I guess. But we'll start with Mantha. He's got. He's a right winger, 6'5", 234.
He's a big boy.
Can score. Can play first line minutes, can score a little bit on the injury prone side. But that comes with the game he plays.
And the height as well.
But the prime thing, and what's going to put a real big price on his head as far as trade value is concerned, he's got 3 more years left at $5.7 million.
Oh, that's right.
Which is a great contract for a guy like him.
Great contract.
But it's going to make him be worth more. And like, honestly, the only thing I can really think of that Detroit would really look at is like
Picks.
Well, it would have to be something and picks. I'm thinking Hannafin and picks.
Ooh.
Because same age group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
locked up for a similar.
Speaking, but I mean Hannafin. I mean, if you're taking away Hannafin, that line with Tanev and Hannafin is pretty good. I mean, like.
I absolutely agree, but you gotta give to get, right?
Who do we get in if we get rid of Hannafin? You know what I mean? Who's gonna slot there? Because then we're back. Because we're already shit defensively.
Mm-hmm.
But that's purely because we're not defending from the front line. You know what I mean? We're not. Our forecheck is pretty fucking. You know, it looks great on paper. I mean, last night, to be honest with you, against the Oilers, I thought it was much better. I gotta be real.
Well, we didn't have Kachuk falling down at the blue line every time they came back.
There we go. Yeah.
He even picked up a puck and took a breakaway and scored.
Yeah, the other right.
Oh, I fucking jumped off this particular couch. I jumped over the screen that you're looking me on, and I was ready to go out and do a fucking voodoo ritual. So
that was a hell of a backhand.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking at Anthony Mantha, and I'm thinking, I mean, we just don't have a whole bunch that's worth a whole bunch. You know what I mean? Like we could do Monahan and a couple seconds, maybe a first. I don't know.
Do you really see?
And Detroit really likes getting big players back too, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
they're being really smart, man. They are staying in this rebuild for the next year or two as well, and it's quite obvious. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think they would. I mean, I don't even think you gotta give them as big a piece as Monahan. I think you could probably package some dead weight there as well, and a couple of kind of, you know, a high pick and then a couple of maybe low picks as well. I don't know.
You mean give them some picks and some dead salary so they can continue rebuilding with those pieces? You think?
Well, I mean, they're fucking stupid anyway, aren't they? Because they're still in the rebuild for the last 2 years. So I mean, they're obviously not that bright.
Well, they got Yzerman back, so I mean, they're not. You know, they instantly became smarter.
Let's just say
maybe.
Let's just say Yzerman didn't win that cup last year, but he built that fucking team.
Sure did.
In Tampa, right?
That's
he
true.
left the team that he built that won a cup.
That is so.
So then we send them Valimaki and say he's the next Edmund.
You know what? I'm with Chris on this one. I think Valimaki is the piece that I would be happy with leaving.
He's got so much potential, and he's proven he can play well against men.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and
that's just it. And Dylan and I have talked about this many times. Like I mean, you know, hopefully nobody in Detroit is going to end up watching this, but I mean, he's just one injury potentially away from never playing again, right?
Who?
Yeah.
Valimaki,
right?
Yeah.
He's spent more time on IR than on the ice. So,
yeah,
I mean, he's got great potential, and he's shown that he's, you know, he can be that guy. But God, he scares me. He really does.
I would happily let him go before I would let Hannafin go. Every day.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree.
But that's the most realistic guy I've got on here.
Me too. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
Because he fits our team. He's well known to be on the block. And I think we do have pieces. I don't know what the pieces, what the correct pieces are, because I'm not Steve Yzerman.
I get you.
But,
I get you. Yeah.
But I think we do have.
Makes sense.
And I think he would be worth that. You know, what do you guys think about in the future a first line of Matthew Tkachuk with Anthony Mantha and Elias Lindholm?
Yeah, I like the sound of that. I got to be honest with you. I prefer, I do honestly think, hopefully, I do believe that within the next 2 seasons, I think Dylan Dubé will be that first line right winger. I
think he's got top 6 potential. I
think he's got that potential to play there, but I would be happy with knowing that Mantha is on one and Dubé is on the other, regardless of what way it works out.
I had Dubé capping out at second line center, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Absolutely
okay.
not.
That's where Backlund is. That's to me is our second line center, even though he hasn't been playing there this year. But he's one of the best two-way forwards in the league.
Who, Backlund?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a reason when
I agree.
when I heard on the radio yesterday that Backlund was out. Like
Yeah.
he's one of the only guys in the league who gets in McDavid's face and stays there. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, McDavid will dance around him, but McDavid dances around fucking everybody.
Well, because because let's be real, like we are realistic Flames fans. We know that McDavid is that fucking damn good. We know that.
Yeah.
But he's also an asshole.
So, sure. But if you look at this year compared to other years, this year Backlund's been kind of relegated to the third line. So he's not playing those minutes that he used to against McDavid like he has last year and the year before, where, I mean, he more or less shut him down. I mean, if you can contain McDavid to 1, maybe 2 points a game.
Yes.
Where right
Absolutely.
now he's not playing him those minutes anymore.
Yes.
It's Monahan.
Yeah.
How the hell's Monahan going to shut down McDavid? So that's just poor matchup from the coaching standpoint.
Do we see Lindholm starting next year as the first line forward? Yeah.
Hey,
unless we pick somebody else up. Yeah.
Unless we get Eichel, he is our first line center. That's the way I look 100%. At it.
I really think that Elias Lindholm is such an underrated player.
Sure. He is.
Yep, sure.
And his contract is just
perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, I like it.
I really like it. I think it's going to be awesome. But anyway, sorry, go ahead. I'd be interested, Dylan, to hear in your Konechny shout though as well, real quick.
My Konechny shout. Well, actually, I've got both Konechny and Forsberg, which are the exact same trade, and it's straight across for Johnny.
The only problem I think is that I know that the Flyers have issues next year also with cap space. And are they going to put all their, shekels into like $9 million, which is essentially what the minimum I think that Johnny Hockey's gonna require?
I think that they're gonna be rid of Konechny. I don't know. You said you had cap friendly open, correct, Chris?
Yeah.
Get the Flyers.
What's Konechny's immediate future looking like?
Yeah, that's interesting. I'd like to hear that because that's the only fear that I have, purely because of the fact that Konechny's got like 3 years left, I believe, and I think he's on something like 4 or 3, just under. I think it's 4 million. So, if they're gonna take, Johnny for the rest of the season, and then
they're gonna find a trade for Shane Gostisbehere. Like they just put that 4 or 5 or whatever $1 million contract on waivers. They do not want him anymore, so they'll find something for him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so he's kind of like he's 5.5 until 2025.
Yeah, man, that's a big contract.
Yeah,
it's a big contract.
But it's 4 less than Johnny's going to want most likely.
Do you think Johnny would take less if he was playing for his beloved Flyers?
I think so.
That's a good point,
just from maybe not that much less. But the other thing is Philly's more likely to be like, okay, this guy wants to play for us forever, so let's make it happen.
Like, you think he would say like, listen, I'll go to 8.5, 8.7 for you guys, but anyone else, it's 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They may be able to talk him into the 8, right?
That makes sense. Yeah. No, that does make sense. Chris, have you got any trades, Chris?
Well, the one, and I honestly, I talked to Dylan about this a couple times, and I actually think that they should make it happen. Is that Philip Forsberg trade? I really think that for Johnny is good for both sides. Number one, Nashville. I mean, they're kind of going through a bit of a rebuild right now, so it doesn't really make sense as far as that trade. But if you look at Johnny Hockey and just the buzz that goes around with him, the song that carries around with him all the time, like you can't tell me that they couldn't market that in Nashville. Playing
absolutely.
that, go Johnny, go, like that would just blare down Broadway, and people would come for it.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
And I really like Forsberg as a piece for the Flames too.
100%. Yeah.
They're similar numbers this year, aren't they? They're both on. Well, I mean, I know Forsberg is on 29 points.
I think he generally produces a little bit less than Johnny, but he plays bigger. Obviously,
yes,
he plays more Daryl Sutter hockey, let's say.
Yeah.
And he can score. He's not lacking hands. He doesn't have the passes Johnny has, but let's be honest, Johnny passes into the opponent's skates more than he fucking hits sticks. So
yeah, it's 382 points in 492 games. I mean, he's no slouch.
That ain't bad.
Any stretch of the imagination.
That ain't bad at all.
And their contracts,
29 points this year.
Yeah, I believe their contracts are pretty much the exact same as well in term.
Forsberg's at $6 million. Yeah, ending 2022, $6 million.
Yeah,
that's nice.
I think with a core of, Lindholm, Anderson, Markstrom, the Swedes, Forsberg's more likely to be you know what? Let me sign with my countrymen, and come and be a part of Calgary's core for a long time. That's why I think, take a little bit less production for more physicality and more likeliness that they'll want to sign long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that makes sense to me. Yep.
Yeah, it'd be an easy sale for him, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real good show. I like the Forsberg show. I mean, I like the Manta one a little bit more. I think that's also realistic, but I think they're both realistic there. I'd be happy with
Forsberg is a left winger, and the only and Mantha's a right winger, right? We're short on the right.
We need right. Yeah, we need
but
right, for sure.
Forsberg, the only reason why Forsberg isn't so, like Chris said, isn't so realistic is because Nashville's trying to get rebuilding pieces, not Johnny Gaudreau pieces.
Yeah, not addition, right?
Yeah, but there's no guarantee that Johnny Gaudreau is going to stay there when his contract ends as well. Like, let's be real.
No,
absolutely. Unless he falls in love with the city straight away, that's probably not going to happen. And
Yeah, and you know what? I've been to Nashville for a game, and the little burger joint just outside of downtown has the best burger I've ever had. It's called the Philip Forsberger.
Oh.
Johnny, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to get a Johnny Gaudreau burger. Come on, brother.
Right?
What's that going to be? A kid's burger?
Yeah,
kid's burger.
Yeah. He'll get sponsored by A&W. Be the team burger.
Plain cheeseburger with nothing.
Let's just all dream, and we can just say, let's bring Sidney Crosby back to Canada, and we'll just give them everything, our whole team, and we'll just have Crosby play.
Well.
Quick shout to I got Olofsson, Victor Olofsson. I don't know why they want to trade him, but they've got him on the block, and he plays both wings.
Bizarre. Which is his second full year, isn't it?
I believe so, and he's produced really consistently both years.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he hasn't had Eichel this year, so
right.
And he's playing behind
67 points in 96 games.
That's not bad at all, especially on a entry level contract, and Buffalo
and a dying team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
he's third on the team for goals, for God's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just a quick shout. Like I don't know why they'd want to trade him. He should be one of the pieces they build around, but apparently he's on the block from what I've heard and seen. But
maybe Taylor Hall has taught him how to be a shit human being.
Oh, shots fired. Does
I don't care. I don't care who writes back on that either.
I played the
Does Hall live in Calgary in the off season? Is he going to come and prove he's a shit person and beat you up, Chris?
You know what he
I hope
can
so.
do? You know
Bring
what
it
he
on.
can do? He can come on the Flame and Puck podcast and explain to us why. And then we can
Yeah,
ask
why
him.
he thinks he's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm up for that.
I mean, he can explain to us why he'll be looking for his fifth team in six seasons next year.
Mm-hmm. It
I don't know.
amazes me how many fans are just dead set on getting him.
Oh, man.
There's no appeal. Like, I get
It's only because he's
wants to
from
play in
Calgary, right? It's only
and he's from
because-
Calgary. And I think
Sure.
it's also like spitting in the Oilers' faces, but I don't think that's worth having yet another
boom.
locker room problem.
The
No,
boom.
we're fragile.
I think Matthew Tkachuk and him would end up probably boxing the head off each other. Let's be real.
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I have zero desire for Hall to wear the flaming C.
me
None
too. I
whatsoever.
don't ever need to see it personally. Well, I think that's a great way to kind of wrap it up today, guys. I think, I mean,
Just wrap it up on the fuck Taylor Hall.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. They're your words. No, I
It's
think
an
so.
easy way to end
because
things, I would say.
I think realistically, we know now what we have. We do have pieces that that could potentially benefit certain teams going into the playoffs. And I know that sucks to say, that we're not going to be there. But I think there are certain teams that can look at what we have in Calgary, like a Valimaki, like a Monahan, like a Johnny Gaudreau. And I think realistically, there is players there that can benefit somebody going into a playoff season now.
I'd be surprised if somebody doesn't come and try and pick up playoff Sam Bennett.
That too.
Really.
That too. I think he's
Yes.
more like a throw him in as a sweetener type of a thing, and maybe
100%.
hold half of his contract for the rest of the year, just to get maybe move up around in the pick that we get or whatever. But I honestly, I don't think that we'll be in the market for players. I think we're probably going to be in the market for prospects and picks. If
a new GM, hopefully.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I mean, you got to look at it though. I mean, him and Sutter's contract end at the same day. There's got to be something to that.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if Brad's still here for another couple of seasons. It wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me with this ownership group, but at the same time, hopefully they see sense, because I mean, it looks like he's on his last legs. He's got to really do
the ownership. Yeah, the ownership group's probably going to have to. They're going to have to find somebody else who's willing to be a yes man for them before they get rid of Brad, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, well-respected GMs out there who are just going to be like, wait a second, you're not going to let me do what my job is? I'm not taking the job there.
Yeah, we need.
Yeah, it's the same ownership that wouldn't allow us to rebuild in 09 and trade again with some value, so that we could start. Right now we'd be talking about a contending team that we've been watching for the last couple of years.
But isn't Kenny Agostino like the next guy? One of those pieces for Dynamo. Anyways.
Anyway, guys, it's been phenomenal. We are your new hosts. In fairness, we've got it's great. It's been a great show today, guys, and obviously we want to welcome Chris on board. This is your Flaming Puck team going forward. For me, Ian, for Dylan, for Chris, we are happy to see you. And until next week, for Flames Hockey, go Flames, go! We are over and out.